the best information on the world internet. We encourage you to leave a subscription and like. I invite you to today's report from the front. There have been explosions in Crooked Horn. A rocket attack, carried out by the Russian army using Iskander missiles, hit a residential block. Also, 2 wounding incidents were reported in the morning attacks on the center of Kherson by occupation forces. The Office of the Prosecutor General reported that a tractor operator and an employee of a public services company were wounded. Civilian infrastructure and vehicles sustained damage. The head of the OGA explained that 2 men, aged 46 and 43, sustained injuries. One missile hit an educational building with 4 floors. It is likely that there are people under the piles of rubble. Emergency services and police are on the scene. The second shell destroyed a section of a residential building from the 4th to 9th floors. A fire has occurred. Interior Minister Klimenko reported. By 10:15, 1 person had lost his life and 10 were seeking medical attention. Rescue work is underway. What's more, the Ukrainian minister confirmed in an interview with TV crews that 2 people were dead and about 20 injured. The lives of 2 people have been terminated and roughly 5 to 7 people are buried under the rubble, he relayed. Search and rescue work is ongoing at the scene. Emergency services in Ukraine confirmed that by 12:34 people had lost their lives and another 43 had been injured by the explosion. 3 people, including a child, were safely rescued. A total of 230 people and 57 vehicles, including 85 rescuers and 22 vehicles of the National Rescue Service, are involved in search and rescue operations. The statement reads, "The Federal Security Service, FSB, has arrested 3 residents of the Voronezh region, Russian citizens, who provided information about Russian military facilities and transportation infrastructure to the banned Right Sector Group." A treason investigation has been launched. A shuttle bus and 2 cars caught fire in the Voroshilovskaya district of Donetsk. Reports of fatalities have also come in. Denis Pushilin said the fatalities occurred when Ukrainian shells hit a civilian bus. The mayor also said that 6 people are being treated for injuries sustained in the blast. 2 incidents involving soldiers occurred in the Belgorod region as a result of yesterday's shelling, Astra reports. According to channel reports, one of them suffered a shrapnel wound in Shebekinsky Horodrug, while the other was wounded by shrapnel in the shoulder in Krasnoyaruski district. The central part of Kherson was attacked by Russians using Grad rockets. The incident resulted in the death of an employee of a public services company and injured 4 of his colleagues. Donbas is constantly under fire from occupation forces. In the Donetsk sector, a house in Krasnohorivka suffered damage. The Kurakivka terrorist group was shelled twice, and the outskirts of the Ocheretine municipality are under attack. Intense bombardment of Avdiivka took place in the morning. The Russians carried out 4 airstrikes on Novievka in the morning hours. Pavlo Kirilenko, head of the Donetsk military administration, said, "Fighters in the Volnovakh sector shelled Wuhledar 26 times with artillery." The shelling also affected Prichistivka and Maximivka. A farm was damaged in the village of Vesely in Komarsky TG. 1 person was killed in Pretikin in the Horlivka sector. In Kostyantinivka, 5 people were injured and 21 private homes were damaged. 2 multi-story buildings, 2 private homes, and an infrastructure facility sustained damage in Chasovoyarsky TG. A drone resembling an airplane crashed on the Daragonovka farm near Taganrog. As a result of the incident, a residential building and a vehicle caught fire. Cars in the area are unable to pass as the asphalt on the road has been damaged. At the moment, information indicates that 1 person has been injured. Mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin assures that his Wagner unit is not currently recruiting, but anticipates such a step in the future. The information comes from a voice message posted on a Telegram channel associated with the Wagner group at dawn, with a voice that appears to belong to Prigozhin, all amid speculation about the future of the group and its leader after a failed mutiny attempt in June. "As long as we don't face a shortage of personnel, we don't intend to conduct another recruitment," he announced in the message, which can be listened to here. "As soon as the fatherland needs to form a new unit of mercenaries capable of protecting our country's interests, "We will certainly start the recruitment process." The man, who claims to be Prigozhin, also referred to the transfer of some of his units to Russian forces, saying that he poses no barriers to any of his fighters wishing to join Moscow's ranks. He also noted that the group is planning future missions that will be carried out for the benefit of Russia. The group will be active in Africa and training centers in Belarus, he added in his statement, which was made public on the Gray Zone profile. Russia is focusing on modifying laws to speed up the process of recruiting more soldiers for its military, directed to fight in Ukraine, according to the British Ministry of Defense. In its latest update, the British ministry notes a recent shift in the age limits for conscription. The upper age limit has been raised from 27 to 30, indicating Russia's desire to attract more recruits from its population. Although the new conscripts are not yet deployed to Ukraine, these additional recruits are relieving professional and mobilized soldiers of other tasks within Russia. Similarly, Vladimir Putin has increased the age of reservists one can be, and senior officials can serve until the age of 70. According to the Defense Ministry, these changes mean that the public is more obligated to participate in combat, and this, combined with recent drone attacks, the Wagner mutiny, and internal repression, only underscores the failure of the Russian state to separate society from war. Russia has experienced an extensive reorganization of its forces in Ukraine since Wagner's mutiny in June, when a significant number of mercenaries abandoned their positions at the front, forcing the Russian government to bring in soldiers from other locations around the globe to replenish scattered lines. Ukrainian authorities reported on Monday modest successes in capturing territory around the front line in the Bakhmut region, as well as successful repulsion of Russian assaults elsewhere. The Ukrainian Defense Forces have taken control of a 2-square-kilometre area in the Bakhmut sector over the past 7 days, Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar reported during a live broadcast on Monday. This brings the total area liberated in eastern Ukraine to 37 square kilometers. She also reported that Ukrainian troops are carrying out effective offensive operations in areas south of Bakhmut. Maliar added that Russia is directing its main forces to the areas of Kupiansk, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Mariinka, where fierce fighting continues, saying there are more than 170 battles in these areas. Along the eastern front line, Russian forces have failed to clear Ukrainian troops from the Serebryansky forest in the Lyman sector, while Ukrainian Defense Forces have effectively halted the progress of enemy forces in the Kupiansk sector, Maliar added. She noted that the Ukrainian Defense Forces liberated the town of Staromayorska in the Donetsk region, despite intense aerial bombardment and artillery fire. She said the Ukrainian Defense Forces liberated Staromayorsk in the Donetsk region. Russia may be forced to use a nuclear arsenal if the Ukrainian counteroffensive proves successful, a highly placed Russian official told Dmitry Medvedev on Sunday. It's another warning about the use of nuclear weapons delivered during Russia's invasion by President Vladimir Putin's most important ally. Imagine a situation in which an offensive in the NATO alliance would be successful and result in the loss of part of our territory. Then, we would be forced to use nuclear weapons in accordance with the provisions of the Russian presidential decree. Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, said in a post on Telegram, "There would simply be no other option," he commented, the former Russian president. "Our adversaries should pray for our soldiers to prevent the world from coming under nuclear fire." A representative of the Defense Intelligence Ministry, Andriy Chernik, announced that Russia had forcibly recruited 60,000 people from the occupied territories, according to the Ukrainian news agency. At the beginning of the year 2022, the aggressor, Russia, forced 55,000 to 60,000 people from the occupied territories of Ukraine to serve in its army, he stated. According to Cherniak, the occupiers unceremoniously forced people into military service, dressing them up in uniforms and sending them to the front lines. It's a ruthless mobilization. The occupiers surprised people on the street, showed up at the few businesses that were still in operation, and recruited people by force. They simply dressed them up and sent them to the front lines. Despite assurances that they would serve in the second or third line, in reality, many of them ended up in the first line. The Ukrainian military intelligence representative stressed Russia is also forcing students from the occupied territories of Ukraine to serve in the occupation army. They go to school in the morning, and after 2 days, they are already serving. Actually speaking, Russia does not treat the residents of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions as human beings, so the occupiers pay no attention to human rights. The only real option for survival is immediate surrender at the first opportunity, Chernik noted. As Ukrainian news agency previously reported, aggressive Russia plans to replenish its military by 500,000 people due to war losses against Ukraine. In Russia, hackers broke into radio stations and aired Putin's call for general mobilization over the invasion of Ukraine.